Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another scene from the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York. This scene will be set on the Sept of the Green, and in fact centered on the Seeker's cabin, where, you see, 10 Point has been walking on eggshells for the better part of the day, because she has said some less than tactically sound things to Haraya, and while what little rage might have remained in the wake of the battle was spent in the midst of their reveries and their praises to Dana, it does not mean that she didn't say what she said or do what she did. And as such, she perhaps appreciates the consequences of her actions far more than most might. As such, the next time around that Aiden happens by the cabin, we'll find the Metis there in her breed form, as she usually does when she's pointedly ashamed of herself or in Balian's company. And she probably intended to stake herself by the door to patiently await the comings and goings of Haraya's. But it looks as though her morning work, particularly with all that hurry and scurry around Belvedere Castle, has left her weary enough that she has dozed off there, essentially just staked out, draped by the front door, where its opening and closing would probably at least bump her muzzle or an antler.
Probably coming through the door of the Seeker's cabin is Aiden, and the door just swings open, probably donking 10 Point right in the nose, basically. Like, perfectly timed, you know. He could step over her, you know, looking down at her like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
It's not that unfamiliar a position, though she usually doesn't take as clunky a form there. But yeah, she gets a good clonk across the muzzle as the door swings open, and immediately jerks her head back and up out of the way so that the walk is clear for Aiden to pass. Though there's that distinct jingle as she does so.
You get for standing on the bloody door. He just grumbles to himself as he's walking, you know, lighting a cigarette by the porch, basically, for his smoke break.
And yeah, she has no argument to offer to that, no counterpoint. So she merely draws herself further up and into a crouch, keeping her head and eyes down, and just kind of, is he staying on the porch, or is he like walking down off it to smoke?
He usually stays on the porch to smoke, so he just sits there, probably pulling up a chair and sitting down as he's just back from Guardian Patrol.
Yep, she'll just kind of stack up into an attentive sort of crouch. Not an unfamiliar position, albeit she's, again, a little more bulky than usual. And she just kind of perches there with her ears kind of pitched forward attentively, very attentively, and her eyes right down on her paws.
He sits there and the cigarette breath goes in and he'll look over. You have something to say? Omega.
And with that, she'll finally kind of slink more like away from the wall where she was kind of stacked up. And when she's out on the more open floor of the porch, will roll herself onto her back, head drawn up until her nose is practically pointed at Aiden, about to where her antlers thump against the floor, and she simply can't lift her head any further. Right.
Stares at her blankly, you know.
I mean to apologize for the way I spoke yesterday.
I see. When you question my decisions, yes.
Yes, Raya.
Well, that was interesting. I did not know you were disapproving of Garu taking battle scars?
Of course not, Raya. I was simply very stuck on a particular notion. I was not thinking.
Not thinking. Just nod. Cigarette, it goes, puff of smoke goes out of him. Not thinking. Now that is interesting. Because you told me you were concerned of the wrath of her packmates.
Yes, Raya.
Do you think we're not capable of handling that?
Of course we are, Raya.
Well, obviously not, if you're thinking that. Do you think I'm not able now as a foster, nor Banshee when she returns, or Balian, is not able to handle the children of the Spirit Wilds? He'll stand up, like, to his fullest height, basically.
She stays draped out on her back across the porch. I'm sorry, Raya. Our alpha's words were ringing in my ears.
So, a traditional Wendigo earning her battle scars, and in the eyes of the Septus of Metis actually proving she's worth a damn, that will cause a problem.
Her packmates are wrathful and unpredictable, Raya. I was very stuck on our alpha's reminder to keep peace.
And keeping peace, is what I did. After all, I let her earn her scars. You see, she'll now look at us and remember who was the one who told her to take the scars. Me. The one she would least expect it from.
Yes, Raya.
But I don't expect you to understand a Ragabash. 10 point. But I do expect you to understand Pack.
Yes, Raya.
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're not cut out for us.
The tail bit, kind of curls up between her legs.
Maybe I should start reminding myself of what a proper Metis actually does. I mean, for you, this is a proper liberal sept. I mean, if you don't need us anymore, maybe we don't need you.
No, Raya.
I'm sure the likes of William White would gladly accept you into his flock.
The ears finally kind of slick back. They've been just a passive kind of easy level till now, twitching forward when he speaks, but at that they'll go ahead and slick back into her ruff. Raya, I was very heated from the battle. I wasn't thinking.
Another Metis said that to me as well. And that same Metis declared a howl of war on our tribe. She was heated in the moment of rage. So, I wonder, is that a common thing among your kind, to use that excuse?
No, Raya. It doesn't excuse my actions.
They just nod. Well, how can I trust you to obey my word when you question me over the simple matter of what any traditional Garu would do? An honor, even.
It won't happen again, Raya.
Well, how can I be sure of that? You see, trust is a valuable thing, Omega. And pushing your packmates like that, I don't know. One would say time in isolation is needed to remind yourself of what a pack really is. Wouldn't you think?
And yeah, she's got no subtlety. There's blatant, like, to say it's discomfort would be something of an understatement, but she practically gives a squirm at the notion. Raya, let me earn
And
your
what?
forgiveness, please.
Let you earn my forgiveness. Well, what would you need to do to earn that?
Whatever it takes, Raya.
Well, 10 point. I don't know. Are you capable of earning my forgiveness?
Yes, Raya.
See, what I would do with you now is I'd just send you off, tell you not to come around our pack for 3 or 4 days. Let's see how well your resolve really is.
And her jaw kind of moves a bit. Not enough to open her mouth, not enough to part her muzzle, but it's definitely that kind of nervous tick almost, where one chews up the inside of their cheek, something kind of like that. Obviously, you can't do that in Krynos. You know, take out your cheek, but it's just kind of uneasy motion. And without permission to rise, she won't move to do so, but she will shift her weight enough to reach for the swag.
He sits there watching.
And of all the things that she's pulled out of it before, she hasn't produced this yet. So, are you familiar with what a scourge is?
Yes, I am.
Well, guess what she's got?
He raises an eyebrow at herself. Yeah.
Raya, there are many things that I would rather suffer than exclusion from my pack.
Is that what you really fear? Then is it 10 point? You see, you can scourge yourself. Aye. Oh, yes, you can. You can beat yourself. You can have me beat you. You can have Balian beat you, Banshee, whoever. But where's the lesson in that? See, you'll whip yourself. Probably do a lot of damage, aye. But you really learn. That's the question. If you can answer me that, then I'll let you whip yourself.
Would it please you more, Raya, if there was a permanent effect? A permanent reminder?
He'll smile and he'll kneel down so he's looking right at her. No. The point I'm trying to make here, permanent. I want to embed it in your mind the next time you think of disobeying me. Permanent, aye, but beating you makes no sense when you're expecting me to hit you. See, the ripple you've created is you've created distrust. So, no amount of physical punishment can make me trust you again. That's the ripple. And one thread of distrust in a pack, well, that's how a pack falls apart. So convince me I can trust you. Or I'll send you away. And we'll see what you're really made of.
And yeah, seeing as he's looming over her and making a point of standing high, she's still kind of curling. It's a very, very simple, very basic sign of submission and discomfort. Though given the chance to make amends, she'll finally begin slowly to move so that she can be corrected if he doesn't intend her to. But will slowly look to roll herself over and press herself up.
And he makes the move to stop it.
And she doesn't have far to go. She will reach into the swag again, leaving the scourge over by his feet, and will paw out one of the old handkerchiefs that she keeps in there. She has a handful of the ones that Balian's probably discarded over time. And with that in her paw, will move to the door, press it open, and disappear perhaps halfway through the doorway, as the kin are fairly good about keeping a little cart nearby so that, as needed, the members of the pack can be served various meals and whatnot. And one of the things that doesn't take, can be stocked without waiting to the last moment until the food is ready, is the very literal silverware. Because Balian's just a classy motherfucker. He probably really likes throwing spoons at 10 point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Whatever the case, she will drop the handkerchief over one of those nice fancy little knives, and use that to palm it and emerge again, and will lurch her way back over and fall to her knees back in front of Haraya.
He'll stare at her. Now, what have you got planned, then? 10 point?
A reminder, Haraya, for the next time that I open my mouth without thinking.
Very well. Proceed.
And yeah, she will, taking a moment to put down the knife and resituate the fabric over it so that she's not making direct skin contact even with the handle, which I imagine is not itself silver, but one can never be too sure. It's very plain, even in a Krynos, when one is feeling pain, and there is a slight involuntary flex to the hand and arm that are hosting this knife, even without her directly touching it. It still sets up the fur, makes it prickle as if responding to pain or injury, to burning. And so, planting one hand in front of her planting one hand on her knee and with the other lifting the knife, she is going to cut herself essentially down the side of her muzzle so that it doesn't quite split the lip, but certainly leaves an angry red line all the way from roughly the top of her muzzle down the side and under her chin. And we will play the rolling game, because that is one unsoakable silver egg, and it means I must take a rage and roll it.
Here we go.
Well, thankfully it can't be but so spectacular. But the effect is visible, regardless of being in breed form. She manages to make this quick swipe with, thankfully, fairly sharp cutting knife, probably a paring knife, and will almost immediately, after swiping it down the side of her muzzle, kind of let go, drop it as if the hand kind of spasms open, and will lower her head with a groan because, well, it comes out as a groan in Krynos. Kind of a pained, growling sound. And yeah, the knife will clatter to the ground with some blood on it. Her hand will clench a few times. And she'll even lower her head briefly while she puts herself back in check.
I'll just stare at her. Well then, he'll just look at her. I guess you can stay. After all, so dedicated. That's what I like to see.
I will not make the same mistake, Raya. And naturally, talking will kind of stretch the skin and aggravate the injury further.
I'm sure you will. He'll smile to her. Just remember, next time, I'll give you the will and might and see what happens. After all, maybe he can cure you. He'll smile at her, wickedly.
She bristles up a bit at the notion. Not as passive as her usual reactions, but then again, William White is a special kind of threat.
And he'll look right down, actually, and there'll be this oddly sadistic smile about him. After all, the lad nearly gave her life. They'd be saying how great she was. How does that make you feel, Omega?
Let's see your jaw clench.
Do you feel hatred towards her? He'll raise an eyebrow, waiting to hear.
And it takes her a second. Her jaw works for a bit. And she'll finally issue a fairly terse no, Raya.
Are you lying to me? He'll smile warmly.
I wouldn't dare, Raya.
Good. You should be. He'll smile. After all, she likes to rub it in her face how proud she is. He'll walk over her, basically, nod. I'll be needing you later. Probably Teresa's going to go and do some crazy stuff, and I need to make sure that my pack is there just in case there's still animosity. He'll just smile at her as he's whistling going into the cabin.
And yeah, he'll hear the obedient yes, Raya, before the door shuts. Though now she is left, still kneeling on the porch with a bloodied silver knife on the boards and her scourge not too far away. So for the moment, she will take the slightly stained handkerchief, cast it over the knife, more like entirely enveloping it, and grasp it up and set it aside near to the door where she can, where it's against the wall, so there can be no mishaps, but where she can remember to take it in. And as Raya moves inside, she will stretch a big old paw out to gather up the scourge and finally move to depart the porch without putting it away. She'll slip off a bit, not out of hearing range, for the sake of being able to hear a summons. But yeah, Aiden, while he's inside doing whatever he happens to get up to, and as we close the scene, we'll very clearly hear if he's listening for it, if there's not some sort of ambient noise going on in the cabin, the thud. The very rhythmic thud.
He just smile to himself and just shake his head. You know, as he's eating food, basically. You know, probably. You know.
And with that, I think we'll call it a scene. So, thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.